Welcome back to my cave of darkness. As you can see, we're doing another late night video. This still feels extremely weird. But either way, today I'm here to talk about video games, remasters, and remakes. This is something that has been completely taken over everything for like the past couple of years, and it seems like every single time where there's a brand new video game announcement, you will always see a remaster or remake being released, and I swear it feels like at this point every AAA game studio probably has one that's being worked on right now. It is something that is everywhere, and I just want to go and yap about it a little bit, because man, am I really annoyed about seeing these. Now I'm going to be honest, back then I wasn't really that mad about remasters or remake when it was like a once in a while thing, but we have truly reached a point where there are just too much of them and it's really oversaturated. So first I want to talk about why this is happening, or just give my theory on why I think every single game studio is trying to make one. It's just because it makes a lot of sense, it's very easy, and it makes a lot of money. I mean, come and think about it. All big game publishers complain about all the time is how expensive video games are right now, and I know the answer to their problems is something extremely simple and a thing that people have been screaming to them for years, and that is to make smaller games with a lower budget, but for some weird reason they're not doing that. And obviously, since making a game is so expensive, making a brand new IP, that take risk, and risk is extremely cringe. Why would I make something new and creative when I could just remake something that's guaranteed to succeed? Because it doesn't matter how bad the remake is, if the IP is popular enough, people are going to buy it. And speaking of people, we're also the problem too. I know that when people go and criticize big companies, a lot of people tend to not criticize the consumer at all, which I understand why. That mainly being for some reason people have this weird mindset on the internet that if you criticize the consumer, that automatically mean you're defending the company or condoning the terrible things that they're doing. No, that's dumb. I don't like these big companies. I'm just not going to sit down and act delusional that us, the consumer, we're kind of part of the problem of a lot of things. But either way, two things I ended up learning about people of just me looking how people act, and especially their buying habits, is that people don't really care about trying brand new things at all. I mean, a lot of people on the internet will consistently talk about how much they want brand new games and new IPs to come out, but when they are actually made, no one goes and buys them and no one looks at them at all. Every single time when you see an extremely popular indie game that's really popular in mainstream, I'm talking about stuff like Helldivers, Lethal Company, Signalis, Hi-Fi Rush, the real people you should be thanking for the popularity of those games should be the core fan base. Because basically, since no one even wants to try new IPs, most of the time, if people find an indie game or just a small game that they like, they basically have to harass other people to go and play it. Scream at them constantly look, this game is amazing, and if they succeed, by the power of word of mouth, you can make something explode. But man, if you don't have a big enough community, no one's gonna see it, because no one wants to try new things. So much people now are just blinded by nostalgia too. Literally the only thing that so much people can talk about on the internet, and the thing that literally every generation is doing, Gen Z all the way to Gen X, is just constantly talk about how cool the past was, and how amazing our childhood is. So the split second people see a remake of a game that they like back then, they go and buy it. And I think those are the main reason why we have an overflood of remakes. Now, I feel like the breaking point for a lot of people ended up being the Silent Hill 2 remake. And that's the thing that I can understand. I ended up playing the original Silent Hill 2 a couple years ago, and it's a really good game. And when I ended up hearing that the game was getting a remake and I saw the gameplay of it, it kind of made me roll my eyes. I mean, they did the same thing that the Resident Evil 2 remake did, where they completely changed the style of the game. And every single time when remakes do this, it kind of brings up the whole Theseus ship question, where is this the same game? For a good example, the Silent Hill 2 remake. It's a good game. I know there's a lot of people walking around saying that the game is absolutely terrible and it's bad, but they're just saying that out of bad faith. The Silent Hill 2 remake is a really good game, and I do think if you go and spend your money buying the game, you're going to enjoy it. I mean, I've seen a lot of gameplay of it. It looks really nice. But here's the thing. I hate saying this because it just makes you feel extremely entitled and like a neckbeard, it's not really Silent Hill 2 at all. The only thing that the game has in common is the story. The gameplay, the atmosphere, and the look of the game, it's just 100% completely different. They basically made a brand new product, and I don't think if you played the Silent Hill 2 remake, you didn't even play the original at all. They are two completely different pieces of art. And this is the thing that tons of remakes, especially modern day ones, ended up falling into. And it really makes me wonder, is it still the same game? Am I still having the same experience, or is this just a completely new product? Or if companies are not doing that type of remake, they do the second type where it's kind of like the Dead Rising remake is a good example, where they just perfectly copy and paste the game to modern graphics. Like everything is exactly the same, the gameplay is exactly the same, it's just, look, the game looks better. And when I see stuff like this, I'm kind of split in two sides. You have one part of me like, yeah, I guess that's the proper thing to do. I mean, the game is exactly the same, and they have the other side of me wondering, what's even the point? Like, if you're not going to change anything and you're going to try to make everything as close to the original as possible, what's even the point of wasting your time and resources making this copy? How about you just take the original and just update it and do like a modern remaster release, like what they did with the Devil May Cry HD trilogy? Or, if that's not happening, we have a brand new trend where companies are remaking games that don't need a remake at all. Sony's the king of this, where in like this generation we ended up getting the Last of Us 1 remake, the Horizon Forbidden West, wrong one, the first one, I forgot the name of it, and also Until Dawn. 3 games that don't need a remake at all. I know, like, these games are very old. Like, I think Until Dawn is like a 10-year-old game, which is crazy to think about, but I still stanley believe that that game, released on the PS4, still holds up pretty well to this day. Yeah, the game looks dated, you can tell it's an old last-gen game, but it still looks extremely good. The story still holds up, and the same thing with Horizon Forbidden West, or the first Horizon Zero Dawn. Same thing with that game too. Yeah, it's old, I think it's around 10 years old too, but it's still a good looking game. I mean, just look at the PC port version of it. It looks absolutely amazing. This game does not need to be remastered. Why are you wasting your time remastering games that don't need it? And I know the answer to that question because people are going to buy it. I mean, we can laugh all we want about this brand new Horizon Zero Dawn remake. I guarantee you when it comes out it's going to be top selling on Steam, just like every single remake, because people just buy this because this is what they want for some weird reason. I know me complaining about remakes is absolutely useless because they're not going anywhere. They're here to stay. Because people don't want to go and play old games, which, here's the thing, that's completely okay. I'm not one of those people who think you need to play every old game to ever exist. People don't want to go and do that. They want to wait for an old game to be remastered, and then they'll go and pick up the experience. But I kind of just hate that. I'd rather just have developers make brand new things, but I guess those days are over. Anyway, that's it. This is just me wanting to yap about remakes a little bit. My name is Lua. You have a good day, or night.